Now, the topic for this Expert Explains awareness session is with Will COVID make you bald? Now, many of you must be thinking, well, it's a matter of life or death. If you're infected with COVID 19, is hair fall really a big issue? Now, hair fall can become a problem because as we understand more about this virus, we are getting data that cases of temporary hair loss in COVID 19 recovered patients has spiked quite significantly. COVID-19 impact on health and well-being of COVID recovered patients uh, in a big way. You know, the impact on the health is very large. And the additional stress of hair loss adds to the already mountainous burden of stress that people are already undergoing during the pandemic. You know, if you're losing hair, you will have self-confidence issues. This just adds to the stress that you're already undergoing, and this stress really undermines your physical well-being as well. So, is this hair loss very worrisome and irreversible? What can you do to save yourself from the situation, or, if possible, reverse the damage? We have a set of experts joining us right now to discuss this, and we are very thankful to OakNet Healthcare for supporting us in this discussion today because we want to reach out to many of those people who may have recovered from COVID, but they really feel that they've not completely recovered. There's some or the other nagging issue that is still troubling them, and hair fall is one way we have seen is one big nagging issue for COVID 19 recovered patients who would have overcome the virus, but there are some lingering symptoms. Now, please welcome our panelists, our esteemed speakers who will be discussing this issue. Please welcome Dr. B.S. Chandrasekhar, Chief Dermatologist and Managing Director, Cutis Academy of Cutaneous Sciences. Please welcome Dr. Gaurav Bhaskar, Dermatology and Cosmetic Surgeon, BSC Hospital. Dr. Pooja Mittal, Dermatologist and Cosmetologist and Founder, Astha Skin and Laser Center. Dr. T.N. Rekha Singh, Dermatologist, Cosmetologist and Trichologist and Founder, AV Skin and Health Clinic, Secunderabad. Dr. Deepak Patel, Dermatologist, Neil Skin and BD Clinic and Love and Care Hospital, Surat. And Dr. Neeraj Goenka, Skin and Health Transplant and Hair Transplant Surgeon, Goenka Skin Clinic and Hair Transplant Center, Surat. A warm welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sparing the time to join us and talk to us about this issue that is now coming up that we have recovered patients talk about this. So let me start with you, Dr. Rekha. What have you seen in your practice? Is this anecdotal or is there really some truth to this that there is an increase in the number of patients who have seen hair loss?
Yeah, definitely. Though hair loss is not a life-threatening concern, but I see in my practice that this concern is growing more and more. And it is overwhelming for me to see more and more people coming to me with hair loss. And this I see more often in people who have already suffered with COVID. Let's say 1 or 2 months later or 3 months later, they come to my OPD with tremendous hair loss, which they have never experienced in their earlier times. So I feel it could be because of the stress associated with the COVID situation as such. We have a condition called telogen effluvium, wherein the hair is shed from the growth phase to the shedding phase abruptly. This happens because of the various stressful factors, one of the major cause being any febrile illnesses. And we all know that COVID-19 starts with fever and other respiratory symptoms. And also the panic that is associated with this condition, the family stress, or the financial burden, if somebody is getting hospitalized, all put together, definitely we see a tremendous rise in hair fall concern. And they do not take it very lightly. They definitely come back to the doctor because they have alarming increase. If it's a normal hair loss, normal hair shedding, probably they try to do something at home, follow home remedies, grandma's advice, still it continues and they immediately come to the doctor. And there have been several studies, and Indiana College of Medicine, which they have done a study they have done a retrospective study. They have studied around 5,000 plus patients who were affected with COVID, and they saw that at least 33% of the people had suffered severe hair loss. And the people who come to hair loss with OPD, there was 400% increase in rise. So I was just looking at the numbers from other countries as well. So we are not behind. Even in India, people are taking this as a serious concern, and they are coming to the dermatologist with a concern.
So 30% is a huge number for COVID recovered patients to have be suffering from this. Dr. Chandrasekhar, what have you seen in your experience? Because the way I see it, the first way we just locked up everything, we just shut ourselves in, and we just try to save ourselves. At that point of time, we never thought of meeting a plastic surgeon or a skin doctor, or those were not important for us. What are you seeing now? For those who recovered from COVID-19, I would feel that there would also be some relief of having recovered. But Dr. Rekha has said that 3-4 months after having the COVID episode, are people coming to her? What are you seeing in your practice?
Okay, normally when it comes to hair loss, what Rekha identified is correct, but there are additional reasons why the patients come for hair loss. Number second is the drugs used in COVID treatment. They themselves can cause hair loss. People inadvertently take ivermectin tablet to prevent COVID, to prevent the initial stages. Ivermectin is a very big drug which can cause hair loss. Number second point, patients who are with us who are taking treatment for hair loss, if they get affected by COVID, they stop the treatment. The best example is androgenetic alopecia, where you cannot stop minoxidil for more than 5 days at any point of time. With so much of stress of COVID, normally if they suffer from COVID, probably they would not take anything for 14 days till they recover from COVID. So that leads to hair loss. There can be a coincidental hair loss. Probably we have seen COVID, the family suffer from COVID, but the patient comes with hair loss. Number 4, probably the stress related to COVID. As Dr. Rekha already told, there's a huge amount of stress. We know that stress affects 2 highly metabolic tissues in the body. One is a bone marrow, second is a hair papilla, dermal papilla, which are highly metabolically active tissues in the body. So naturally, any stress arrests this hair growth. The anagen phase of the hair, which is 85% of the human scalp at any given point of time, suddenly get arrested and they start falling. So these are some of the additional reasons why hair loss is there. Of course, acute telogen effluvium, as Rekha said, is one of the most commonest presentation. I agree with her that we see around 30 to 40% of patients with hair loss are coming post-COVID. Plus, the acute telogen effluvium, normally we used to see after about 8 to 12 weeks after any viral illness. But here, surprisingly, I'm noticing it happens within 3 to 4 weeks. Patients are coming in 6 weeks, which is not expected to happen in any viral disease or any bacterial disease, which is for a long duration. So these are some of my observations. So there are a lot of dimensions to hair loss in COVID era and COVID time.
Yeah, but you've seen patients come even on 6 weeks after having COVID.
That happens.
Right. And, Dr. Patel, what have you seen in your practice? Are you seeing patients coming later, much later after COVID? Because the body takes its time to recover from this disease. Like some people are bouncing back quickly, some people are having symptoms that last for much longer, something which is called as long COVID also. What are you seeing in your practice? And does this hair fall fit into the definition of long COVID?
Actually, we have already observed that there is excessive telogen effluvium. There is a loss of excessive hair loss because of stress. And this stress is not only in the patient, but relatives and even parents or even a child suffering from any type of infection in COVID time, they develop a stress. And this stress is maybe due to the psychological stress. Sometimes it may be due to the drugs. Already sir said that there are so many drugs like Tamiflu or Remdesivir, Ivermectin. These all drugs are causing a hair loss. And even this stressful time in all family member, even one death in a family can also create the stress to the whole family, and it creates a hair loss. We know that this hair loss is a temporary. It will be definitely recovered within a 6 to 9 months. But for that, we require some assurance to our patient, and it gives a proper treatment, and then we can give a better result in a telogen effluent. So it is a definitely stress drug related, and that proper counseling is very required. Definitely, it will be recovered.
All right, so that's good news. This is temporary and not permanent. Dr. Bhaskar, when patients come to you, do they seem very stressed and upset about the hair loss? Or are they just not sure if they've done something to get there? Uh, Stress is obviously an important factor leading to this hair loss, but you can't just wish it away. So, uh, what is the way out? Can anybody do something to prevent this kind of hair loss?
Yeah. Hair loss is commonly seen nowadays with post-COVID patients. And due to stress, obviously, they are getting hair loss due to medications, what they have got during the COVID time. Then the financial stress is again there. Family stress is there. So first of all, I ask them to have a good diet. They should get all the nutrients in the diet that are required for hair growth. Secondly, they must go for stress relieving activities like exercises, yoga, meditation. Also, they can go for certain nutrient supplements are available that can help in growth of the hair. So stress relieving exercises, sessions, yoga sessions, they are good to relieve the stress. And apart from that, we can add nutritional supplements to reduce the hair loss.
Right. Dr. Mittal, what have you seen in your practice? At what stage are people coming to you? Have they tried something? Have they waited for some time for perhaps the hair to grow back? At what stage are they coming to you after they have acquired the COVID infection?
See, there are many patients. I'm seeing lots of hair fall patients. They are not only post-COVID, even the relatives, as all other doctors, all other colleagues are observing, even the relatives, even normal people, whether they have had COVID or not, they are experiencing hair fall. So initially, 1 or 2 months, they normally don't come to doctors for hair fall. They say that it must be temporary or it will go on its own. But when it is not getting better with home remedies and all, at that stage, they are coming to us and for further blood test or for any other investigation or any other additional medication which can help to decrease the hair fall. So these kind of patients we are seeing, and very less patients are coming at very early stage. Mostly they try to heal their own hair fall at their own places. When it is not working, only then they are coming to us.
Right. Dr. Chandrasekhar, is there any direct correlation between the impact of coronavirus on our body and the hair follicles? Or is this indirectly because of stress that or the usage of the medicines that patients experience hair fall?
No, disease itself can cause hair loss because any acute viral illness which goes for more than 5 to 7 days can lead to a telogen effluvium called acute telogen effluvium. But take a scenario of COVID. COVID is a special variety of a disease. See, it starts once you become RT-PCR positive. Immediately, I think anybody on the earth would have a stress and anxiety of COVID. What will happen to me in another 14 days? They will start counting days. Today is first day. What happens on third day? What happens on fifth day? What is on seventh day? What is on ninth day? What is on 11th day? Am I okay now? What is happening to me? So this kind of constant stress is one of the factors which leads to this kind of hair loss, because we know that acute telogen effluvium is one of the reasons is this. The second important point, the drugs which are given, we already told. And the most important point is the rest of the things, what we did not see till now. See, COVID is related to immune activity in the body. The immune suppression is there, overactive, cytokine release is there. At this point of time, there can be deregulation of your immune system and lead to a new onset of hair loss. I have seen patients of alopecia areata developing alopecia areata after COVID. They were all right there. There was nothing. There was no family history, nothing. But suddenly they started developing alopecia areata patches. So there is some immune mechanism which is going on to develop autoimmune hair loss diseases. What we are talking now is a telogen effluvium, which is a normal, and an androgenetic alopecia, which is hereditary. But autoimmune hair loss like alopecia areata can be an onset. So as you consider both the disease itself as well as the stress related to disease, which is unusual really, because so many deaths you see, social media is exacerbating all these things, exhibiting deaths, exhibiting the dangers around the COVID. So all these factors have added, and it's a real problem. The post-COVID hair loss is a real problem, and we are facing such daunting tasks to convince patients. Of course, the counseling is the one which really matters a lot. I think that we'll discuss later.
And Dr. Chandrasekhar, I just want to clarify. You said that COVID can trigger alopecia areata in. Dr. Chandrasekhar,
Hello?
can you clarify? Could you clarify, Dr. Chandrasekhar? Are you saying that because of COVID, because of the immune response, they can, patients can have alopecia areata because as a consequence of COVID? They may not have had it before, but they have it because
Yes. It's because alopecia areata has got multifocal etiology, pathology. One of the most important factor for alopecia is immune dysregulation as well as stress. So both are happening in COVID. You can expect a lot of other autoimmune diseases coming up over a period of time now. We are already seeing a lot of coming up. So similarly, alopecia areata also.
Dr. Rekha, have you seen this in your practice as well?
Yeah, I totally agree with Dr. Chandrasekhar, sir. As he said, now COVID-19, the understanding is still evolving, and we all know that there is a lot of immune change that is happening in the body, and we all know that alopecia areata itself, one of the causes is immune dysregulation, and we never know, there could be some kind of inflammatory change going on at the root of the hair follicle, and nowadays we see more of flares of alopecia areata. Like the disease was quite senescent, quiet, lying down low there, well under control, without any medications, and suddenly something happens, and then you see new episodes of alopecia areata coming in. Not only that, I would like to add that even androgenetic alopecia, which is in common terms which we call as baldness, that also we see that people are coming back with sudden increase in the hair fall or slight worsening of the grade of balding also. As Dr. Chandrasekhar said, I said that definitely I agree with him, and I understand, and there may be some immune change definitely happening at the level of hair follicle as well, which is causing all these things.
Right. I think Dr. Chandrasekhar mentioned that if somebody gets COVID and they are taking the COVID treatment for 14 days, they also stop their medicines. If they were taking any medicines for hair loss, they also stop the medicine. So, Dr. Patel, I wanted to inquire from you. Some patients may already be taking immunosuppressants to manage the autoimmune issues like alopecia areata. So, when they get COVID, should they stop the immunosuppressants? And what about vaccination? If you want to take a vaccine, should you also then stop these immunosuppressant drugs that you're taking? And what could be the impact on the hair loss?
Basically, all these autoimmune disease, they are basically involve immunosuppression, and they all are on the certain immunosuppressive drugs like methotrexate, cyclosporine, or certain biologics. Usually during this COVID time, they stop it, and that may definitely create some problem at the hair follicle level. This hair follicle is a single unit in which there is a different type of ingoing, outgoing supply of the vessels are going. So there is a capillarities develop at the root of the hair follicle. There is also oxygen supply in each follicle in a different way. So in COVID situation, what happens? The oxygen starvation and even a nutrition starvation of the hair follicle develops, and even certain drugs can also create a problem. So this immunosuppressive drugs definitely create some problem in hair follicle, and that leads to a telogen effluvium. even the people believe that it's a myth that stopping of the immunosuppressive drugs that will be helpful in a hair loss, but it's actually basically a myth. Vaccination have a no role with a hair follicle, so vaccination should be advisable to the all immunosuppressive patients, and that can be helpful in such a patient like any patient who is on the immunosuppressive drugs.
So what you're saying is, Dr. Patel, that they should go for the vaccine, but
Yeah, they should go.
But if they were taking immunosuppressant drugs to keep their alopecia areata in check, then should they stop it and then take the vaccine? What is your advice there?
Yes, at least for if there is an active lesion of the or active COVID-19 is positive, then for certain time they should stop the immunosuppressive. After the recovery from the COVID, they can again start immunosuppressive.
All right. Dr. Chandrasekhar, you wanted to add something?
Yes. Vaccine and COVID, it's a very right question you have asked, whether immunosuppressants go with vaccine or not. See, we have different categories of drugs in immunosuppression. For example, if you take a methotrexate drug, which is commonly used by dermatologists across the globe, you need to stop the drug for a week. Take a vaccine. Continue your drug. If you are on the cyclosporin, which is a main immunosuppressive, don't have to stop anything. You please go ahead with the vaccine. When you are on biologics, you don't have to stop any biologic, except if you are on infliximab, which is rarely given nowadays. Secukinumab is given, then adalimumab is given, etanercept is given. These are TNF-alpha inhibitors and the cytokine blocker biologics. You have absolutely no problem. You can continue to take vaccine. And post-COVID, it's already resolved. Whatever you are, whether you're an immunosuppressant drug or not, you have to take vaccine only after 3 months after the recovery from COVID. These are the guidelines for the vaccination in COVID.
Mm-hmm. No, vaccination is definitely one of the points. But Dr. Mittal, what Dr. Chandrasekhar is explaining about, the immunosuppressants are not still same. And what you may be prescribing to your patients, they're not, say, what would be given to a kidney patient, or, they're not the same. So is then the advice to get in touch with your doctor when you're going in for a vaccine? What would you say? Because, there is this, people will find any excuse to not take the vaccine. I have been taking painkillers for so long. I have a bad knee. No, I won't take this vaccine. How can I stop my painkillers? So people find all excuses. What would you say? For people who are taking medicines for alopecia areata, what would you say?
See, like Dr. Chandrasekhar very beautifully explained the role of immunosuppressants and vaccination. See, like in alopecia areata, we normally start with oral steroids. That too on a pulse therapy, we rarely give everyday steroids in alopecia areata. So in that case, patient can take his routine weekly dose, and after that, they can go for vaccination. There is no need to stop Omnacotil or any other steroid for vaccination. And definitely patients are making so many excuses. I don't want to take vaccine because I'm on this medicine, I'm on that medicine, I have gone there. But all these are excuses. They are hardly meaningful. So you should always go for vaccination. But you can, there is no need to specifically stop any medicine. Like Dr. Chandrasekhar said, you can stop methotrexate for 1 week. And all those things we can choose, and we can always encourage patient to get vaccination.
All right. Dr. Bhaskar, if a patient stops his medicine, the immunosuppressant medicine for the week, and then gets back to it again, does it impact his hair fall at all in the interim? Will there be a significant rise in the hair fall?
Yeah, if a patient was already taking treatment for hair fall and he stops the treatment due to anything like COVID, or patient says that due to financial issues he was not able to take it. So yes, definitely it will affect. Minoxidil is a kind of drug which is applied topically, and it affects the hair cycle. It helps to maintain the anagen phase of the hair. So if a person is not applying minoxidil for a week or two, the hair will start going back to the telogen phase, and hair shedding will again start. So due to withdrawal of the drugs that were keeping the hair in the anagen phase, patients get hair loss. So it is not recommended that patients should stop the medicine.
No, but say for whatever period they had to stop because COVID is serious, or they decided to take the vaccine, how soon can they get back? And then, can they minimize the impact of that period where they were not able to take the drug? Dr. Bhaskar.
Like for the supplement and for the minoxidil, if they are applying for hair loss, they can again start it back. It won't affect, but it will be restarted. If they were on some immunosuppressive like cyclosporin or for alopecia areata or anything else for alopecia areata, so they'll have to consult their dermatologist to again start the immunosuppressive medication.
Right. Dr. Rekha, when a patient comes to you a few weeks after COVID and suddenly starts experiencing a lot of hair fall, generally, how long will this last? And you said this is temporary hair fall. How much time does it take to get better? What medicines would you have to take? What care will you have to take?
Yeah. So I think this is a very apt question, because the first answer that our audience would like to know is about this. Now, one thing is they need a lot of hand holding from the doctor. So we need to assure them, as Dr. Deepak has said, we have to tell them that it's a temporary thing. The hair loss due to COVID or any other acute virus illness or any stressful condition, basically telogen effluvium, can last from 6 to 9 months. And sometimes it may extend a little more. So the first thing that we do as dermatologists is we handhold them, assure them, give them good dietary advice. And many of them are already taking some vitamin D supplements, multivitamins, vitamin C. So we can check their complete blood picture to see that their hemoglobin is normal or not. And so those who are vegetarians especially, we check for vitamin B12, vitamin D. And if those who are already hypothyroid or any other thyroid abnormalities, we see whether the thyroid hormone is maintained within the normal limits or not. And then we assure them, and we put them on supplements basically containing certain important amino acids which are important for the growth of the hair. Put them on iron supplements if iron is low. B12, supplement them with B12 and vitamin D. And we do have some serums like protein serums containing mainly certain things like Capexil, which we give them, we offer them to apply daily. And we tell them that you have to improve your diet, maintain healthy lifestyle, exercise, have a good sleep, and try to have positive thoughts, and then go on. So the duration, generally it takes around 6 to 9 months.
All right. So we can safely say, Dr. Mithal, that this is reversible, right? It is something that is going to stay with you forever. You can reverse it.
I'm not able to understand.
Yeah, the question is that this is reversible, right? The patient shouldn't worry on that point.
Yes, definitely. It's a reversible condition and it's a treatable condition. So there are many things which we can't properly treat. So it's a treatable condition. First, the most important part in the treatment of telogen effluvium in post-COVID patient is assurance. So that your hair will come back. They are not going to leave you forever. So rest, we are giving them medicines. We are, as Dr. Rekha said, we are telling them to de-stress their body by exercise, by meditation, because this is the main reason for post-COVID hair loss. So first we should address this. Rest of the things definitely going to help, like hair supplements, hair solutions. They all are going to help the patient in a long way.
Right. Dr. Patel, what protocol do you follow? Somebody is coming to you with, presenting with temporary hair loss after having suffered COVID. What protocol do you follow? What's your advice to them?
Basically, assurance to the patient that it is a temporary condition. We have to take care of oxygen, blood supply, and nutrition. So for improving the oxygen, at least we have to advise them certain type of yoga or exercise or physiotherapy for the whole body. Even for nutrition point of view, already Dr. Rekha said that biotin, iron, folic acid, and certain nutritional supplement already available in a for hair growth. And for vasodilatation, minoxidil is the best drug of choice. Locally, we can apply according to the percentage, 2%, 5%, and 10%, depending upon the requirement. We can also give the certain peptides are available in the market that can be helpful for the hair follicle. And in this way, we have to assure properly and give a treatment for at least 6 months, and that will growth in this COVID situation.
Right. Dr. Chandrasekhar, how much importance do you assign to counseling? Because, all of you tend to agree that this, while there could be physiological changes, immune changes because of your body fighting the COVID disease, stress is playing a major factor in this hair loss that these COVID recovered patients are seeing. So, how important is counseling? And who should do this counseling? Should the dermatologist do it? The trichologist do it? Should a trained psychologist?
So, a dermatologist has to do it because dermatologist, a trichologist, and a psychologist too. Because we know the hair science better than anyone else. So, in addition to the points told by my colleagues, I would like to tell you that we need to make people understand the hair cycle. So, what is the hair cycle? Normally, what happens to the hair when it starts growing? And we also should make the patient understand that individual hair has got its own metabolism, its own life cycle in the scalp. For example, you take that the hair cycle, 6 weeks is the time for the new hair to fall and new hair to grow. But it cannot happen like that because individual hair is different on the scalp. So as Rekha said, you should tell 4 to 6 cycles of hair are required for you to come to a normal, number one. Number two, you should give live examples of patients who were treated for COVID or who were treated for acute telogen effluvium because of dengue, because of typhoid, because of malaria. Those patients have recovered. We all dermatologists have got profiles of patients with us. We have the records of patient. We maintain the records of the patient. You need to give live examples to them. So that's how you counsel. This is a patient who was suffering from hair loss. This is the density she had at the starting of the hair loss treatment with me. And this is what has happened over a period of 4 or 5 months. That's what you should say. The second, however you counsel, however you tell Anisha, unless you stop the hair loss, patient is not going to be happy. They'll stand in front of mirror. They will watch their pillow. They will watch their kitchen basin. They will watch their bathrooms. Everywhere you see hair in acute telogen effluvium. So you need to encourage the hair follicle because it is going in waves. As Rekha said, there are beautiful serums which can encourage, like caffeine derivatives are there, capaxyl derivatives are there. We all know about this science. We need to make the patient use it properly because sometimes if you don't advise the patient how to apply, how much to apply, where to apply, they will not do it. So I have seen patients, if they use it correctly, the derivatives of caffeine or a capaxyl or some other serums which are available, they will be able to come out of that acute phase in a matter of 6 to 8 weeks. That's where hand-holding patient for at least for about 2 to 3 months is very crucial. And in case if you see there is too much of stress, then you will have to evaluate for depression. You will have to evaluate for anxiety. So you will have to evaluate if you find that we have a questionnaire. Life Index questionnaire is.
All right. Yeah, I think the questionnaire sounds like a good option for you to evaluate your patient and then decide, whether, what other steps could the person take for their mental well-being. We also have Dr. Neeraj Goenka now joining us. Dr. Goenka,
I was busy in some work. Sorry, I was late.
No, but what the panelists have so far said is that post-COVID-19, recovered patients are having temporary hair loss. It's quite significant. Some of our practitioners here have seen a 30% increase in the number of cases coming to them. And Dr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Rekha has also told us about, what could be the treatment protocol, including counseling. In your experience, what have you seen? And one question that I had to you, Dr. Goenka, is that, at the time of a pandemic, how do you consult with your patients? Can you assess their conditions on the telephone or through video consultations? How are your patients coming to you these days?
You're talking about the telephonic consultation?
Yes, I want to know, like, if our patients coming to you with a complaint of hair fall, how do they reach to you? Do they meet you in your OPD, or are they doing telephonic consultation?
Hey, right now the situation is a little bit better. Like a month ago, it was definitely more of the telephonic consultation because the COVID severity was more. But right now, we don't see that much of the telephonic consultation. More of the patient, they are coming like face to face OPD consultation. Most of them, they are coming in this scenario. And now we are allowing the face to face consultation in the OPD. So that was your
Right.
question. Sorry, I was not able to understand.
Yeah. So the question was on, how the patients are coming to you and what you are seeing with your patients. Are you also seeing an increase in temporary hair fall?
Yeah,
What are you advising them?
definitely. Even in the mild COVID situation, they are coming with severe hair fall. Even in they say they had gone through a mild COVID, just 2% or 5%. Even they are having a hair fall after 2 months. So sometimes they are not explainable, but they have severe hair fall. So again, all seniors said the nutrition supplements, psychological evaluation, the minoxidil or capixil serum. But one thing I want to add, sometimes we need to give anti-anxiety drug also when the patient has severe depression or severe anxiety. So we need to add some like alprazolam or some antidepressant. And when they are in severe depression, sometimes I also send for a psychological evaluation to a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, that's something that Dr. Chandrasekhar also mentioned. Dr. Patel, for you, can you correctly diagnose the condition of a patient through video consultation or through teleconsultation, or do patients have to necessarily come and meet you face to face?
Basically, when the patient came to our OPD patient, we explained that proper hair cycle, that this hair cycle remains for 2 to 6 years. One hair follicle have a 3 phase: anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen is the active phase. Telogen is a transit phase. So there is an increase of transit phase. So there is a telogen effluvium. So don't worry. This is a temporary problem. So we reassure the patient, and they came into the patient by face to face in OPD. Then we explain the whole thing in our computer also, or explain the hair cycle properly and give a proper scientific way treatment in the form of systemic drugs, even local application, and if required, certain aesthetic procedures to our patient.
But can this be done in a teleconsultation mode? All that you have said, the counseling that you've done, the explanation that you've done, the diagnosis that you've done, can this be done remotely?
On telephonic, we cannot diagnose properly. Just assurance we can give. If they come to our OPD, then we can do a trichoscopy, or we can diagnose by our own clinical examination, and then it will be helpful.
Right. Dr. Mittal, is it safe to step into psychologist clinic to get yourself evaluated at this time? Should people think about that, or should they start their treatment as soon as possible?
I didn't get your question, Anisha.
My question is, what are safety protocols that you are following so that patients can, easily step into your office and get themselves assessed? Should they have hair fall problem? Because there is this hesitancy about meeting doctors or seeking this treatment as well, considered vain by some people. Oh God, it's only hair fall, but for people who are suffering or going through it, it's a big problem. So can they safely go and get themselves assessed?
See, it's better always. See, skin is such an organ in which when you examine the patient properly, only then you can make the proper diagnosis. With teleconsultation and with telephonic consultations, we can just reassure to some extent, but we cannot properly diagnose and we cannot properly assess the patients. So I normally feel that patients should come to doctor so that they can properly check the scalp, they can get their blood tests done, they can evaluate so many other things to guide and to reassure the patient properly. So this is my opinion regarding teleconsultation. I'm not very much satisfied with my teleconsultation. I normally tell patient to come and show me.
Right. So Dr. Goenka, can people do something themselves so that they do not have severe hair fall. I mean, not taking stress is obvious thing to do.
I'm not getting
Don't
your
take
voice
stress.
very clear. Your voice is not clear, ma'am. It's not
Right.
very clear.
Dr. Goenka, my question was that what can people do to stave off hair fall? What can they do to avoid hair fall if they're recovering from COVID-19? Can they do something themselves? Not taking stress will obviously help them, but that's easier said than done. So, any home remedies, any dietary changes, anything that people can do on their own to try to reduce the hair fall.
So you're talking about the COVID situation or in general?
I'm talking about hair fall. Like I've recovered from COVID. I'm not sure if I should meet a doctor about my hair fall. What can I do? Will putting hair oils help? Will taking particular supplements help? Can I do something on my own at first attempt?
Kind of prevention post-COVID, right?
Yes, so that I don't have hair fall.
So it's always a positive attitude first, a stressless thing, and accept the COVID and try to go through it. You have to be positive that you are recovered well. And then definitely a best nutrition, exercise, yoga, some therapies which keep you calm. Nutrition, you can then add iron like green leafy vegetables and beet if he or she is a vegetarian. And then they can add biotin supplements and exercise, yoga, daily routine. They can do some activities which reduces the stress and help build up the immunity. It helps the less of the hair fall problems.
Right. Yes, Dr. Chandrasekhar, please go ahead.
This is one of the important things and the message we have to give to our patients. Yes, you can do at home. Number one, you need to care your hair like a baby hair now. So you cannot use harsh shampoos. You cannot use shikakai. You cannot rub your scalp very badly. So you need to go for something which contains lauryl sulfate shampoos or the shampoos which are available with caffeine, which are available with amino acids. They are called anti-hair loss shampoos. They are freely available across. You can just go to the net and get it. Number one. Number two, you should know what is hair-rich diet. Hair-rich diet is the diet which contains amino acids, microminerals, and vitamins. See, normally in our diet, we don't have so much of microminerals. So you need to have, number one, what is hair-rich diet? To supply proteins, you can have egg, you can have soya, you can have badam, soaked badam. So to get a microminerals, you can have apples, you can have pomegranates, you can have green leaf vegetables to get iron. So this is what sprouts, very, very important to have that supplemental zinc. So as a patient, you should be able to take this balanced diet, what I said. These are the two principal things. And as Dr. Goenka said, stress. Stress, probably a family support should be there and a dermatologist support should also be there. Teleconsultation, you can definitely counsel the patient, but they take a very long time. They take about 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Patient will speak, next father will speak, daughter will speak, husband will speak, and you cannot have such a big patients to counsel patients. So they have to come to the clinic. And you were talking about the precautions in the doctor's clinic so that the patient comes in. I promise you that every doctor across India, irrespective of the specialty, are following the protocols for COVID. They have a sanitizers, they have a screening desk, they have a fumigation in the clinic, and recently we have ion disseminating device called ShycoCat.
All right, yeah.
The device called ShycoCat, which has got ionized particles coming and sterilizing your clinic to an extent of 99.99%, which is approved in European countries. So these are the measures every doctor has taken. So there should be no worry or no fear for the patient to come into the doctor's clinic. I'll tell you, they are more safe in the clinics rather than outside. That is the level of protection doctors are taking in India.
So I think, Dr. Rekha, nobody should, family members should not give you snide remarks. Hair fall hi to hai, kya ho gaya? Why are you taking this? Kabhi to cover kiya hai. It is not a small thing to be brushed under the carpet or dismissed by other family members, isn't it? You need the family support as well.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, because I see many of my patients who tell us that when I ask them, why didn't you come to me earlier? Why have you been waiting so long to see a dermatologist? So I get the same answer which you have told me right now. They say ki hair fall hi to hai, humne samjha tha ki kam ho jayega. So in fact, if you start taking the concern seriously and start treating it early, the earlier you start interventions, the better are the chances of recovery of hair. So I feel the other family members should take care of the patient's diet if somebody is affected with COVID, which everybody does. There's nothing new in it. And they have to seek early dermatologist consultation, whether it is through teleconsult or face-to-face consult once they recover. And as our colleagues have said, teleconsultation definitely has its own limitations, but surprisingly now I see that my patients want to come and see the doctor. They like to discuss things in person, and that makes our job easy because we have dermoscope in hands through which we can examine the scalp thoroughly, arrive at the diagnosis. We can tell them in what situation the scalp is right now. And there are certain scalp conditions which go unnoticed without the dermoscopic examination, which you cannot see through the naked eye. So we can counsel them. And definitely when the patient comes to the clinic, mother, father, spouse, the family member is also going to accompany the patient. So it becomes easier for us to counsel both the patient and the attendant together so that the family can give a good support. And the foremost, and another thing which I want to add to the discussion is I advise them not to fall for those magic potions which promise overnight hair regrowth, because this is the era of media and there are so many things coming up on internet. So they try shop. There is so much of online shopping going on. So they browse through hundreds of products. They ask us whether they can use this, that. So it takes a lot of effort for us to counsel them. So if they come face to face, I think that one thing can be taken and that can be addressed if we see us. So I would say that whether it is teleconsultation or face-to-face consultation, early consultation with the dermatologist would definitely help those patients who have hair fall post-COVID. And second thing, coming to the family support, dietary supplements, like Dr. Chandrasekhar sir has said, protein and micronutrient supply rich food has to be taken. They should take care of their adequate sleep, because we know that inadequate sleep can also have certain effect on the hormones. Exercise, following healthy lifestyle. If somebody is smoking, they have to cut down on smoking. Alcohol, though it doesn't have a direct effect on the hair fall, cutting down on such things would also help them.
Right. Dr. Patel, in this session, Dr. Rekha told us that the treatment extends between 6 to 9 months. How much time does it take for patients to make a full recovery? I mean, get a good crop of hair. You may be taking medicines for 6 to 9 months, but by what time do you see, hair growing back and it all looks much better?
Basically, this phase is for at least 6 to 9 months. So, first of all, we have to explain our patient that it will take around 6 to 9 months for a proper recovery. Every monthly counseling is important. Every monthly they have to come to OPD for examination. Never use any head conditioner or head shampoo. Only mild shampoo or shampoo which contain a caffeine, that can be helpful. Certain peptides and minoxidil, that can be helpful. Already sir said that the high rich protein food, that can be helpful. So these are the common advices we give and assure that definitely it will recover. It's a temporary phase and it will take around 6 to 9 months.
But Dr. Patel, does the recovery or the regrowth of hair start during the treatment itself? Like once you start taking the medicine, or by when can the patient hope to see some effect after starting the medicine?
Yes, on dermoscopy, we can see the baby hair after 2 months of the treatment, and gradually we give a proper treatment that will be helpful, and definitely results are there.
Right. Dr. Mittal, when your patients come to see you, do you like it or ask them to get the family members as well, or just treating the patients is enough so that this problem is addressed completely?
Normally, patients come along with their family members as well, because it's a thing which normally everybody in the family is experiencing. Like if one person of the family is having hair fall, the other person are already observing their hair and all those, the stress the patient is facing because of hair fall. So they normally accompany the patient and they come to us and they want the good solution for their problem. So we normally tell them, like you said, that how much time will it take to get the full growth and full normal when the patient come back to normal. See, normally everybody knows that it will take 6 to 9 months, but it depends upon the length of the hair. If the patient's hair are very long, like in females, so that normally that length will take some time. So initially, first thing will be that there will be the number of hair will be falling less. The hair fall is getting better clinically. And then we can see baby hairs within 2 to 3 months. And they will grow like the growth of hair is around 1 to 2 inches in 1 year to 6 to 12 months. So it normally takes quite a long time. It's not only 9 months. Even after that, you have to take care of your hair so that they will grow healthy and they will acquire the desired length, whichever patient wants to get.
Right. I'll come to Dr. Chandrasekhar. One question to Dr. Goenka also. Dr. Goenka, what is the state in which the patients come to you? Dr. Pooja Mittal is saying, for a woman to have long hair will take time. Do they come with some skepticism? मैंने सारे तेल मल लिए, बादाम भी रोज खाती हूँ और देखो कुछ हो नहीं रहा है, आप क्या कर दोगे? Or do you face any frustration? It's taking too long. So how do you manage the patient expectations? Dr. Goenka, you're muted. Could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sorry. So there are so many patients, they come with home remedies going on. Most of the patients, they do something at home, like whatever. This can be Ramdev Baba treatment or something. They do something, and then later on, when the hair fall is really severe, then they come to us. Then they say they want to treat like we can do in 15 days or 1 month, or now we did everything. What else you are going to do? It's not treating
like
them.
Magic. So they expect to have a magic wand.
Now, as they come to doctor, they need magic. They expect that the allopathy is like wonder, and they have done everything Ayurvedic, homeopathic, and they expect from us that we are magician and will treat them in 15, 20 days. So first thing we explain is just trust us and have a patience. Patience is the first thing they have to have it. It's definitely going to be there. We have to counsel them. Counseling is really, really important. Explaining the cycle, explaining the phase, and explaining giving them the real hope that they are definitely going to get it. So sometimes it's frustrating. They are behaving like we are allopathic doctor and will treat them as a magician. So sometimes it's frustrating, but explaining in a proper way and counseling them in a proper way gives a fruitful results along with treatment.
All right. Dr. Chandrasekhar, you wanted to add something, sorry.
Yeah, regarding the patient expectations, we need to have a timeline for the patient. What is this timeline? Recovery of hair loss is 6 to 8 weeks. Improving in the bald areas about 3 to 4 months. Then density of the hair getting increased at about 6 to 8 months. The length of the hair would take 18 to 24 months. I'll tell you simply because your hair grows 1 centimeter per day. Okay, sorry, per month it is 1 centimeter. So it takes so much. If you want to grow 12 to 14 centimeters of hair, you need to wait for 1 year, 1.5 years. But if you tell the timeline to the patient, arrest of hair loss, then closing of the bald areas, increase in the density, then ultimately length of the hair. So this is what exactly the patient has to be told. If the timeline is told, the patient will not be so much wary about it and they will be counseled to a greater extent. That's what I wanted to tell.
All right. Dr. Chandrasekhar, you had mentioned something about, giving an example to a patient. So I want to come to you, Dr. Mittal, and ask you, like if you're giving an example to a patient saying that he had dengue or he had malaria and he had this and now see he's recovered. So could support groups help patients? Would you encourage this? Do you lead them on to any support groups where they can talk with each other? That gives them hope. 9 months, a year, it is a long time. But if they've spoken to somebody who's already recovered, so they feel more reassured. Do you support groups?
टिश्यू पेपर से कट करना, दिन में 2-3 बार करना, बस यही ऑप्शन है. अब मशे बहुत लगा कि
Dr. Goenka, I request you to please mute yourself. Please mute yourself, Dr. Goenka.
Sorry.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Mittal. Do you think support groups would help patients who are having temporary hair loss? Or do you encourage them to find the support group?
Yes, support group is definitely going to help. See, every time patient comes to us, we give them medicine for few days. And when normally patient comes to us, we answer so many questions which he has, or she has in his mind. After 1 month of therapy, again, they had fresh set of questions. So every time you have to spend time to counsel the patient, to tell them and to counsel their relatives as well that this is going to come back. This is a temporary procedure. If sometimes when patients are very much in stress, we can add some aggressive therapies like PRP as well. So single session or 2 sessions of PRP definitely going to arrest the stress which is going on at the scalp level. So that is also giving nutrition, and it will also help to recover, at least to stop the hair fall. So the new hair will take some time, but at least patient will clinically see that my hair fall has stopped. So now they are in hope that new hair will come up and it will be over in 6 to 9 months. So every time you have to counsel a patient, doctor, relatives, every time you have to sometimes add or delete few things in the treatment. So all these things help definitely.
Right, we've come to the close and we have very little time. So I'll ask each of you to give me 3 points that you would like to leave the audience with. The most important things they must do. So I'll start with you, Dr. Rekha, for somebody who's experiencing hair fall after COVID. 3 things that they should do.
Yeah, the first thing I would say is please fear not. Have patience, because this is only a temporary hair loss. Here, the roots are not going to close forever. There is always a chance of hair regrowth. You should give your body some time to cope up with whatever stress it has undergone through COVID. So with the right nutrition, following the right nutrition, taking care of lifestyle factors, having good sleep, exercise, and consulting the dermatologist whenever you feel that it is not coming under control. So these would be my takeaway points for the audience for today.
Right. Dr. Patel, 3 things you would like to tell to the audience which you think is most important if they are facing a problem of hair fall.
Post-COVID hair loss is a most common thing we observe in our OPD. So it's a temporary, it definitely recovered. Second thing, it's you have to do exercise, and good diet is very important. And third thing is consult your dermatologist or trichologist for a proper management of the hair loss, in which they can also offer a certain medicine, certain aesthetic procedure that will be definitely helpful for the regrowth. These 3 tips is I want to say.
Dr. Chandrasekhar, what would you like to say to those watching?
Believe the science of hair, what cycle it is, how it grows. Number 2, don't get trapped with all these advertising products to stop hair loss. And when it is in a dire emergency, don't forget your dermatologist, who is a true trichologist. Please visit them. This is what I tell them.
Right. Dr. Mittal, what would you like to tell those who are having a stressful life because of hair loss? Stress has got them to hair loss, and now they are stressed about hair loss. What would you tell them?
The 3 things which I would like to say is de-stress, right nutrition, and have patience. So this is a temporary thing and it's going to come back.
Right. Right. Thank you. And Dr. Goenka, what would you want to leave the audience with? How should they manage the issues of hair fall?
I think everyone has said the same thing. Patience, good diet, nutrition, immunity. One thing Dr. Chandrasekhar said, that they should not believe in all the ads, and there are so many gimmicks going on. Do this, do that. Just consult your doctor at right time and take a proper counseling about the hairs. Don't go through all these gimmicks. Just go to the right doctor at the right time. This will help you a lot. Thank you.
All right. A big thank you to all of you for joining us this afternoon and sharing with us your knowledge and your experience in what you're seeing among patients who recovered from COVID, but are seeing significant hair fall. It's reassuring to know that this is only temporary. With the right treatment and right diet and lifestyle, this can be reversed, and it's not the end of the road for all these people who have additional stresses to deal with. A big thank you to all of you for joining us.